My child, do not move from this place. I am Archangel Michael, and I have come to you today with something so urgent that heaven itself pressed me forward before you could scroll away. What I carry in my hands right now is not an ordinary message. It is a blueprint. A document that was never supposed to reach your ears, and yet here it is, unfolding before you in this very moment. The adversary has been operating from a plan, a detailed strategy designed around your life, your habits, and your specific wounds. Today, I am going to expose every line of that blueprint so that nothing hidden can function against you any longer. Please, give me your full attention. Not half of it. Not the part that remains after your thoughts have wandered elsewhere. I need your complete presence, because what I am about to reveal will permanently change how you understand the battles you have been facing. The enemy does not want you to hear this. He has already whispered 3 reasons for you to leave: tiredness, distraction, the quiet thought that says you will come back to this later. But later is where he wins. Later is his territory. Right now is mine. I know what you have been carrying. I have watched you move through days that felt heavier than anyone around you realized. I have seen the mornings when your body got up, but your spirit stayed pinned to the mattress. I have counted the nights your mind replayed conversations and regrets on an endless loop, while the rest of the house slept in silence. You have been fighting something you cannot fully name, and that namelessness is not an accident. It is a tactic. The enemy thrives when his influence has no label, because what you cannot name, you cannot resist. But today, I am giving you the name of every weapon being used against you. I am pulling the covering off of every hidden device. And by the time I finish speaking, the fog that has been sitting over your decisions, your relationships, and your sense of direction will lift. Stay with me. Do not leave until I am done. This moment was arranged before you even opened your eyes this morning, and the fact that you are still here proves that your spirit recognizes what your mind has not yet caught up to. Before I go any further, if your heart already senses that this moment is different, that this is not random, type the word Amen in the comments right now. Just that one word. Let it be your anchor. Let it declare that you showed up today and you are choosing to stay. Now, hear me carefully, because the first thing I must dismantle is the lie that your struggles have been random. They have not been random. Nothing that has worn you down over these past months happened by coincidence. The heaviness you have felt, the strange timing of setbacks, the way certain thoughts seem to arrive at your weakest hours, none of it was accidental. There is an intelligence behind it. Not your intelligence and not mine. The adversary operates with precision, and the most dangerous part of his method is that he makes his interference look like ordinary life. He does not announce himself. He does not arrive with flames and noise the way people imagine. That is the old picture, the one he is perfectly happy for you to keep believing, because while you are watching the door for a monster, he enters through the window wearing a familiar face. His attacks almost never feel like attacks. They feel like exhaustion. They feel like confusion. They feel like a slow and quiet erosion of everything that used to bring you joy, clarity, and strength. You have been under a strategic assault, and the proof is in the pattern. Not in one bad day, but in the sequence. How one discouragement connected to another. How one unanswered question led to a season of silence. How one relationship shift opened the door to isolation that you did not choose but somehow accepted. I want you to understand this deeply. The adversary does not need you to make a dramatic mistake. He does not need a massive fall. He needs inches, small concessions. A prayer skipped today because you were tired. A conviction softened tomorrow because the pressure felt unreasonable. A boundary relaxed next week because someone you trusted made the crossing seem harmless. Inch by inch, the ground shifts beneath your feet so slowly that you never feel the earthquake, until you look up one day and realize you are standing somewhere you never intended to be. That is his blueprint. Slow, patient, almost invisible. And the reason I am telling you this today is not to terrify you. I have not come to pile more weight onto shoulders that are already bent. I have come to do the opposite. I have come to lift the veil so that you can see with absolute clarity what has been operating beneath the surface of your circumstances. Because once something is seen, it can no longer hide. Once a trap is exposed, it loses its power. The enemy's greatest advantage has been your unawareness, and today, that advantage ends. My child, the very fact that you have survived what was designed to break you is evidence of something the adversary does not want you to recognize. You should have buckled under the weight of some of those seasons. By his calculations, you should have given up, walked away, stopped praying, stopped hoping, stopped showing up. But you did not. Something held you. Something kept a thin thread of light burning even in the pitch dark. That something was not luck. It was not coincidence. It was my hand. And I will tell you exactly how I moved on your behalf before this message is finished. Now I must take you deeper because what I have shared so far is only the surface of his operation. Let me show you the first pillar of the enemy's blueprint. The weapon he deploys before any other. It's not temptation. It is not accusation. It is not even fear. The first weapon is distraction, and he wields it with surgical accuracy. You have noticed it, even if you never gave it a name. The way your focus scatters at the exact moment something important is about to come together. The way you sit down to pray and suddenly remember 14 things that feel urgent. The way you begin reading something that feeds your spirit and your hand reaches for your phone before you finish the first paragraph. These are not character flaws. They are coordinated interruptions, and the enemy deploys them with the timing of a master tactician. Distraction does not look dangerous. That is the entire point. If distraction arrived wearing a warning label, you would resist it immediately. But it comes dressed as productivity, as entertainment, as reasonable multitasking, as the next notification that feels like it cannot wait. The adversary does not need you to choose darkness. He only needs you to choose noise over stillness, busyness over presence, the surface over depth. Because a mind that is always occupied is a mind that never hears clearly. And a heart that is always stimulated is a heart that gradually forgets how to be still. I have watched you, my child. I have seen how many times you were on the edge of a breakthrough. A real, genuine moment of clarity that would have changed the direction of your next 6 months, and something pulled you away. A phone call at the wrong moment. A wave of fatigue that arrived precisely when the revelation was forming. A sudden emotional reaction to something small that consumed the rest of your evening. Every single one of those was engineered. Not by you, not by chance. By a mind that knows when you are closest to hearing the truth and acts immediately to fill that moment with anything else. The adversary is not trying to defeat you in a single battle. His strategy is to prevent the battle from ever happening by making sure you never reach the battlefield. If he can keep you distracted enough, you will never enter the place of deep prayer where his schemes are revealed. If he can keep you busy enough, you will never have the silence required to hear my voice at full clarity. If he can keep your emotions churning enough, you will never access the peace that allows discernment to function. Distraction is not a minor inconvenience. It is the foundation of his entire assault on your life, and until you see it for what it is, every other spiritual effort you make will be partially undermined. But here is where his plan begins to crack. You are listening right now. You have not scrolled away. You have not allowed the pull to take you somewhere else. And every second that you remain present, his hold weakens. Every moment of deliberate attention you give to the truth is a moment that his distraction weapon fails. You do not have to fight this battle with willpower alone. You fight it with awareness. Once you can see the pattern loses its grip. And I am showing you the pattern today so that from this moment forward you will recognize the interruption for what it truly is. Not an accident, but an attack. Not a habit, but a strategy being used against you. If this channel has been part of your awakening, if these words have brought you closer to understanding what heaven is doing in your life, take a moment right now and subscribe to this channel. Press that notification bell so that the next time I come to speak, the enemy cannot use distance to keep you from hearing it. This is not about a channel. It is about a connection to truth that remains open when everything else tries to close it. Now let me reveal the second pillar of his blueprint, because it is even more cunning than the first. After distraction has done its work, after it has fractured your attention and made deep listening difficult, the enemy deploys his second weapon: delay. Not outright rebellion, not open defiance, simply delay. The quiet whisper that says, not right now, tomorrow, when things settle down, when I have more energy, when the timing is better. You know this voice. You have heard it so many times that it sounds like wisdom. It sounds like patience. It sounds like being reasonable with yourself. But listen to what I am telling you, my child. The enemy has studied the difference between divine patience and manufactured procrastination, and he uses your desire to be thoughtful against you. When heaven says wait, there is a peace that comes with it, a settled knowing that the season will arrive. When the adversary says wait, there is a subtle drain, a heaviness that grows. Each day the action remains undone. Think about the prayers you have been meaning to return to, the conversations you knew you needed to have but kept postponing. How long has that list been building? How many of those delays have actually led to better timing? And how many have simply compounded into a weight you now carry without realizing its size? I am not condemning you for this. I am showing you the mechanism. The enemy knows that most people will not resist a comfortable delay the way they would resist an obvious temptation. He understands that today is where power lives. Not yesterday, which is already gone. Not tomorrow, which he can always push further into the distance. Today. Right here. Right now. Every time he convinces you to shift an act of obedience, from today to tomorrow, he has not merely postponed it, he has stolen it. Because tomorrow there will be a new reason. Tomorrow there will be another distraction, another wave of fatigue, another emotional demand that fills the space. The cycle never resolves itself. It only deepens. And the adversary knows this, because he has been running this pattern in human lives since the very beginning. But hear me clearly. The same power he exploits in delay, I am reversing right now by calling you into immediate awareness. This moment as you listen is not tomorrow. It is not later. It is now. And the truth that is reaching you is arriving at a time when it can still change the course of what comes next. Every illusion of I still have time is being challenged by what I am placing before you today. You do not need to fix everything in the next hour, but you do need to recognize that the enemy's most effective strategy has been to convince you that urgency is unnecessary, that the path correction can happen whenever you get around to it. It cannot. Some doors close quietly. Some seasons shift without warning. And the adversary is counting on your assumption that everything will still be available when you are finally ready. There is a third pillar I need to expose, and it works in partnership with the first two. Once distraction has fragmented your focus and delay has postponed your response, the enemy introduces doubt. Not the bold kind that screams in your face and makes you question everything at once. No, he uses whisper doubt. The kind that arrives as a reasonable question. The kind that sounds thoughtful, measured, almost intelligent. Is this really for me? Have I not heard things like this before? Am I not making too much of this moment? These questions feel harmless. They even feel wise. But they are precision instruments designed to create just enough hesitation to break the momentum of truth. Truth that lands in a heart immediately produces transformation. but truth held at arm's length while the mind debates its importance gradually loses its heat. Not because the truth has changed, but because your window of response has narrowed. The adversary does not need you to reject the truth. He only needs you to hesitate long enough for the fire to cool. I have seen this happen in your life more times than you know. Moments when a word pierced your heart and you felt the shift. The unmistakable sense that something was being offered to you from heaven. And within minutes, the doubt arrived. Maybe that was just emotion. Maybe I am reading too much into this. Maybe it applies to someone else. Each doubt was a precisely aimed arrow, not at your mind, but at your momentum. Because a person in motion toward truth is dangerous to the adversary. A person standing still, debating whether the truth was really meant for them, is exactly where he wants you. Today, I am cutting through that cycle. I am telling you directly, this is for you. This moment is ordained. The words reaching you right now are not background noise. They are heaven's direct address, and the appropriate response is not analysis. It is receiving. Open your hands. Open your heart. Let the truth land without the enemy's committee of second-guessing standing between you and what I am offering. Right now, plant your feet in this moment and declare after me. I receive what heaven is releasing over my life today. I will not delay, I will not doubt, I will not be distracted from what belongs to me. Type those words in the comments right now. Let them become a record of this moment. Let the enemy see that his 3 pillars have been identified, named, and rejected. Now, stay very close to me for what comes next, because I am about to take you into the most disturbing part of the enemy's blueprint, and I need your spirit fully engaged before I open this door. What I have told you so far, the distraction, the delay, the doubt, those are his general weapons. He uses them on everyone, but what I am about to show you is personal. This part of the blueprint was drawn specifically around your life. The adversary has been watching you, not casually, not from a distance. He has been studying your patterns with the patience of someone who has no deadline and no distraction of his own. He has cataloged your emotional rhythms. The days when you wake up strong, and the days when you wake up with a heaviness you cannot explain. He has mapped your triggers, the specific words, memories, and situations that pull you into anxiety, anger, or despair faster than anything else. He has charted your relational patterns, who builds you up, who drains you, who makes you feel small, who makes you lower your guard. He has done this not over weeks, but over years. Think about it. Think about the moments when a negative thought seemed to arrive fully formed, as if it had been prepared in advance and was simply waiting for the right opening. Think about the seasons when everything seemed to collapse at once, when financial pressure hit at the same time as relational conflict, at the same time as physical exhaustion, at the same time as spiritual dryness. You thought it was bad luck. You thought life was just falling apart randomly. But synchronized collapse is not random. It requires intelligence. It requires someone who has watched long enough to know exactly which pillars to push at the same time to bring the maximum amount of pressure. I tell you this not to make you afraid. I tell you this to make you alert. The adversary invested time in understanding your weaknesses, not because you are fragile, but because you are valuable. He does not waste years studying lives that carry no threat to his kingdom. The very fact that he has committed this level of attention to your destruction is evidence of something he hopes you never realize, that you carry something powerful, something in your story, your gift, your future, your purpose, something that, if it ever fully awakens, will cause damage to his operations that he cannot repair. That is why the blueprint exists. Not because you are weak, because you are dangerous. He studied your wounds because wounds are unguarded doors. He noticed which hurt you, never fully processed. The rejection that reshaped how you see yourself. The betrayal that made trust feel like a liability. The loss that left a hollow space you filled with activity rather than healing. He did not create those wounds, but he has been circling them, probing them, applying pressure to them at strategic moments to reopen what was beginning to close. When a memory surfaces at the worst possible time, when an old feeling floods back during a moment that should have been peaceful, when a thought about your worth shows up just as you were starting to believe something better about yourself, that is not your mind malfunctioning. That is the enemy pressing on a wound he has been monitoring. He also studied your victories, and this is the part most people never consider. The adversary pays careful attention to the things that make you strong. He watches what feeds your faith. He notes which relationships sharpen your discernment. He observes the practices, prayer, worship, stillness, community, that fortify your spirit and make you harder to reach. And then he positions his attacks to separate you from those very things, not by force, by friction. A small disagreement with someone who strengthens you, a schedule change that squeezes out the prayer time, a season of busyness that makes community feel optional. Each separation is subtle. Each one feels like a natural consequence of life. But the cumulative effect is strategic. You end up isolated from the very resources that were keeping you protected. My child, if something inside you is shaking right now, it is not fear, it is recognition. Your spirit is confirming what your mind did not want to accept. That the chaos was not chaos. It was a campaign. And a campaign loses its power the moment the target sees the battle map. You are seeing the map today. The confusion is lifting. The nameless weight is being identified, and every exposed strategy is a strategy that fails. Right now, I want you to think of at least 3 people you know who are fighting battles they cannot name. 3 people who are exhausted, confused, and slowly losing ground without understanding why. Send this message to them today, in your family group chat on WhatsApp, in your church group, or as a direct text to someone who has been distant lately. Do not keep what you are learning inside your own walls. The enemy works in isolation. Truth works in connection. Sharing this is not a small thing. It could be the intervention that pulls someone back from an edge they did not even realize they were approaching. Now let me turn the page of this blueprint, because there is a second half that the enemy never wanted you to read. He drew his plans around your life. Yes, he studied your wounds, your patterns, your strengths, and your routines. He positioned his weapons with patience and precision. But here is what he left out of his own strategy document. He left out me. Every single observation he made about your life was made in my presence. Every vulnerability he identified was already known to me before he found it. Every attack he planned was met by a defense he could not see, because I do not operate on the same plane. He mapped your surface. I guard your foundation. And the blueprint he drew with such confidence has a flaw that runs through every line of it. It does not account for the hand that has been on your life since before you took your first breath. Let me take you back now. Let me show you the moments when my protection was operating without your knowledge, because I need you to understand just how close and how constant my coverage has been. There was a season when everything around you seemed to fall apart simultaneously. Finances, relationships, health. Your inner world and your outer circumstances seemed to collapse in unison. You thought you were drowning. You thought that perhaps heaven had forgotten your name. But what you did not see was the barrier I placed between you and the full weight of what was coming. The adversary had designed that season to be a killing blow, a pressure so complete that you would abandon every shred of faith and walk away permanently. What you experienced was devastating, yes, but it was a fraction of what was intended. I absorbed the rest. I redirected forces that would have reached you. I closed doors that looked like losses but were actually shelters. You remember the relationship that ended suddenly and painfully. The one you mourned for months. The one that left you questioning your judgment and your worth. I know how much that cost your heart. but I also knew what that relationship was carrying beneath the surface. Directions it would have pulled you, compromises it would have demanded, a slow reshaping of your values that you would not have noticed until the transformation was complete. The ending was not punishment. It was rescue. The pain was real, but the alternative was worse, and I chose your temporary heartbreak over your permanent detachment from the path I have set before you. There were opportunities that collapsed for no visible reason. Doors that opened with promise and then shut without explanation. Plans that made perfect sense on paper, but fell apart in execution. You wondered if you were cursed. You wondered if the universe was simply against you. But many of those collapses were my hand gently pressing closed what would have led you into territory the enemy had already prepared as a trap. He placed bait on those paths: comfort, status, financial ease. All real, all genuine in the short term, but all connected to outcomes that would have positioned you exactly where he wanted you. I did not let you walk into them. And I know that the frustration of those closed doors caused you real suffering, and I held that suffering with you even when you did not know I was there. There were nights when something shifted in the atmosphere around you, and you felt it without understanding it. A sudden peace that arrived in the middle of tears. A phone call or a word from someone who had no idea they were being used as a vessel at precisely the right moment. Those were not coincidences. Those were dispatches from heaven. I sent help in forms you would receive, at times when your heart was just open enough to let something in. The adversary sees those moments too, and they infuriate him. Because no matter how carefully he builds his blueprint, no matter how patiently he waits for the perfect opening, he keeps running into a wall he did not draw. My protection, my timing, my refusal to surrender even one of the ones I love. He has tested every angle of approach to your life, and at every turn he has found me already standing there. He does not tell you this. He wants you to believe you are unguarded, unwatched, unprotected. He needs you to feel alone, because a person who knows they are covered becomes fearless. And a fearless child of mine is the worst possible scenario for everything he has planned. My child, I want you to close your eyes for just a moment if you are able to, not long, just a few seconds. And I want you to feel the weight of what I have just told you. You were not abandoned in those dark seasons. You were not forgotten. You were held. Every moment you thought you were breaking, you were being supported by hands you could not see. Every night you thought silence meant absence. I was working in dimensions you do not have access to, rearranging what needed to move, blocking what needed to stop, strengthening what needed to hold. The enemy drew his blueprint, but I wrote the outcome. And the outcome has always been your survival, your recovery, your awakening, and your purpose. Stand up now in your spirit and declare this over your life. I am not alone. I have never been alone. The hand that guards me is greater than the plan that targets me, and today I walk in the full knowledge of my protection. Speak those words. Write them in the comments. Let the enemy hear them from your voice, because when you declare your covering, his blueprint tears. Now, I must speak to the part of you that still carries guilt over the near misses, the almost falls, the moments when you came so close to a decision that would have changed your story permanently. Because the enemy uses those memories as a weapon too. He replays them in your mind, not to warn you, but to shame you. He whispers, "Look how close you came. Look how weak you were. If it happened once, it will happen again." And that shame does something insidious. It makes you afraid of your own heart. It makes you distrust yourself. It makes you believe that your near falls are proof of your inevitable collapse. But I need you to hear what I say next with every part of your being. Your near misses are not evidence of weakness. They are evidence of intervention. You came close, yes, but you did not cross. You stood at the edge, yes, but something pulled you back. A conviction that rose up at the last second. a consequence that suddenly became visible, an interruption that rerouted your steps before they reached the point of no return. Those were not accidents, those were me. I was the resistance you felt when everything in you wanted to surrender. I was the sudden clarity that broke through the fog of justification. I was the door that jammed, the delay that frustrated you, the strange discomfort that would not let you proceed, even though your flesh was screaming for you to keep going. The adversary wants you to remember those moments with shame. I want you to remember them with gratitude, because they prove something he desperately wants you to overlook. His blueprint failed. At every critical juncture, when his strategy was at its peak and your resistance was at its lowest, the plan did not execute. You are still here. You are still listening. You are still carrying the seed of purpose that he has been trying to destroy for years. His blueprint has notes in the margins: failed attempts, redirected attacks, abandoned approaches. He does not show you those margins. I am showing them to you today. There is something else I need to address before I give you the charge that this moment demands. You have been carrying a question for a long time, even if you have never spoken it aloud. The question is this: if God has been protecting me, why did he allow the pain? It is a fair question. It is an honest question. And I honor you for holding it rather than discarding it. Here is the answer, and it is not the one the adversary has been feeding you. Pain was not part of his plan for you. It was part of his plan to use you. Let me explain. The suffering you have walked through was not divine punishment. It was not heaven's indifference. It was the enemy's assault meeting my protection in the middle ground of your life. When those two forces collide, you feel it. The pain you experienced was not me hurting you. It was the impact of his attack hitting the shield around you. Some of it got through, yes, because you live in a world where freedom means exposure. But it did not get through uncontested. It was filtered. It was reduced. And the pieces that reached you, the scars you still carry, those were not wasted. They have become the very material I am using to build the next chapter of your story. Your scars are not failures. They are foundations. They hold the weight of testimony. They carry the credibility that only someone who has survived the fire can speak with. The adversary wanted those wounds to define you. I am repurposing them to deploy you. What he intended as a grave, I am reshaping into a launching pad. And the very pain he used to try to bury you is becoming the soil from which your greatest authority will grow. My child, I am now issuing you a charge. This is not a suggestion. This is not gentle advice. This is a command from the one who has been guarding your life while the enemy drew blueprints against it. Stand up today, not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready, not when the circumstances align. Today, the season of invisible warfare is ending. Not because the adversary has given up. He is not. But because you are no longer blind. As of this moment, you have seen the blueprint. You know about the distraction. You know about the delay. You know about the doubt. You know about the personal surveillance he has conducted on your wounds and your strengths. And you know about the protection that has been on you the entire time, working in silence while you thought you were alone. That knowledge changes everything. A soldier who knows the enemy's formation does not fight the same way as one who is stumbling through fog. You are no longer in the fog. Here's what I require of you today. First, stop apologizing for your sensitivity to the spiritual. That awareness you carry, the one that makes you notice things others miss, the one that keeps you up at night when the atmosphere shifts, that is not anxiety. That is discernment. The enemy has been trying to convince you that your spiritual sensitivity is a disorder, a burden, something to medicate away or ignore. It is your greatest weapon. It is the reason you sensed this message was different before your mind caught up. Start honoring it instead of suppressing it. Second, close the doors of delay. Every prayer you have been postponing, return to it today. Every conversation you have been avoiding because it requires honesty, initiate it this week. Every boundary that has been eroding because you were too tired to maintain it, reinforce it now. The adversary has been feeding off your procrastination, and today that supply line is cut. You do not have to address everything at once, but you must address the first thing. Pick the one act of obedience that you have been delaying the longest, and take the first step toward it before this day is over. Third, reject the isolation. The enemy has been carefully separating you from the voices and the people that strengthen your spirit. You may have believed that your withdrawal was self-care, but some of it was strategy. His strategy, not yours. Reach out today to someone who speaks truth into your life. Send a message. Make a call. Show up. Let your presence be a declaration that the walls the enemy built around you are coming down. I am not asking you to become fearless overnight. I am asking you to become aware. Awareness is the beginning of authority. When you can see the trap, you do not walk into it. When you can name the weapon, it loses its stealth. When you know you are covered, you stop moving through life as though one wrong step will destroy you. You are covered. You have always been covered. And from this moment forward, you will walk with the clarity that makes the adversary's blueprint irrelevant. There is one more thing I need to address before I seal this word, and it concerns the people around you. The adversary does not operate in a vacuum. He uses proximity. He positions influences near you that reinforce the distraction, the delay, and the doubt without those influences ever knowing they are being used. Not every voice in your life is malicious, but some voices are convenient for the enemy's purposes. The friend who always talks you out of your convictions by framing them as extreme. The companion who fills every silence with noise so that you never sit long enough to hear my voice clearly. The relationship that consistently pulls your energy downward while disguising itself as closeness. I am not telling you to cut everyone off. I am telling you to evaluate with spiritual eyes what your mind has been accepting at face value. So hear my final instruction before the decree. Stop measuring your progress by the enemy's pressure. Start measuring it by the truth I have spoken over you today. You are further along than you think. You are closer to your turning point than you feel. The fog is already lifting, and the fact that you can recognize the blueprint is the proof that clarity is returning. Do not waste this awareness. Do not file it away for later consideration. Act on it. Move on it. Let it reshape how you pray, how you choose, and how you walk through every remaining hour of this day. Hear me now with everything you have, because these are the words that seal what has been spoken over you today. I, Archangel Michael, stand before heaven as your witness and your guardian, and I decree this over your life with the full authority of the throne. Every hidden strategy designed against you is exposed. Every weapon formed in darkness is brought into the light where it cannot function. Every surveillance the adversary conducted on your wounds is canceled by the healing that begins today. Every pattern of distraction, delay, and doubt that has operated in your life is identified and stripped of its stealth. You are no longer a target walking blind. You are a warrior walking in full vision. The blueprint the enemy drew is torn, not by your strength, not by your effort, by the hand that has been guarding you since before he ever laid eyes on your life. His plans will not succeed. His timing will not align. His weapons will not land. Because the one who watches over you does not sleep, does not look away, and does not abandon what belongs to heaven. Today, you step into a new season, not because the battle's in, but because your eyes are open. You will see what has been hidden. You will recognize what has been disguised. You will move with the confidence of someone who knows they are covered. Not by luck, not by chance, not by their own power, but by the unchanging and unbreakable protection of the Most High. This is who you are. This is whose you are, and no blueprint. No strategy and no scheme of the adversary will ever rewrite that truth. It is settled, today and forever. My child, today you have received something rare. The veil was pulled back, the strategies were named, the protection was revealed. You have walked through a message that was not meant to entertain you, but to equip you. Carry this with you. Let it settle deep into your spirit where the enemy cannot reach it. You are blessed. You are watched over. You are held by hands that will never let go. Now, before I close, I want to invite you into something. If this message stirred your spirit, if you know someone who is fighting invisible battles and cannot name what is wearing them down, share this with at least 4 people today. Send it directly to them through a text message, post it in your Facebook group, or forward it in your church prayer group. Do not let this truth stay locked inside one heart when it has the power to free many. I also want you to know about a community that carries this mission forward every single day. Through the link in the description and the pinned comment, you can visit our Ko-fi page where you can support this work by buying a coffee, making a one-time donation, or becoming a member of our inner circle. Your membership gives you access to exclusive content, deeper teachings, and a community of believers who lift one another up in prayer daily. Every contribution, no matter how small, fuels the continuation of messages like this one, messages that reach people in their darkest moments and remind them that they are not forgotten. If this work has touched your life, I invite you to become part of what sustains it. Visit the link in the description or the pinned comment and plant your seed today. And if this channel has become a place where your spirit finds rest and your faith finds fuel, subscribe and turn on that notification bell. Do it right now so that the next time heaven has something to say to you, the connection's already open and waiting. Now, let us close in prayer. Bow your head with me. Heavenly Father, I bring this precious child before your throne right now. You have seen every battle, every tear, every silent cry in the dark. You have watched the enemy draw his plans, and you have watched them fail. Today, seal the truth that was spoken into this heart with a covering that cannot be broken. Let every exposed strategy remain powerless. Let every wound that was pressed upon begin to heal from this hour forward. Guard their mind. Steady their steps. Surround them with people who speak life and truth. And when the adversary returns with new schemes, let the memory of this moment rise up like a shield, reminding your child that they were seen, they were warned, they were armed, and they are loved beyond measure. In the mighty name of Jesus Christ, it is done. Amen.